Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's weight classes for a reason.
No, it's business. It's the office. I enjoy it because this is what I love to do.
Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter.
I understand, Canelo is bigger than me and whatnot, but I'm up for the challenge.
Canelo Alvarez has responded to new workout videos from Terence Crawford, who is increasing his training in preparation for a possible fight with Canelo. His workouts consist of a mix of strength and conditioning exercises, including weightlifting and resistance training to build power and stamina. Crawford is also focusing on improving his punching skills with practice and heavy bag workouts to increase both his speed and accuracy. Saudi Arabian advisor Turi Alik, an avid boxing fan, has promised to bring several world-class fights by 2025. Among the most anticipated is the long-awaited clash between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, possibly set for September. According to Boxing News Online, both fighters privately met in London last week, away from the public eye, and allegedly began negotiating the terms of their highly anticipated bout. ESPN reported that the fight is scheduled for the weekend of Mexico's Independence Day in mid-September. Boxing expert Mike Coppinger from ESPN stated, "From what I'm told, they're in the process of finalizing a deal for a fight in September during Mexican Independence Day weekend. It will be in Las Vegas with a 168 lb weight limit and no rehydration clause. One key challenge remains. Crawford needs to gain 14 lbs to match the Mexican champion Canelo at 168 lbs. Canelo has gradually moved up in weight classes over the years. He began at super welterweight, where he won the WBC world title, then became the joint middleweight champion at 160 lbs. He briefly moved up to light heavyweight, defeating Sergey Kovalev to win the IBF title before dropping to super middleweight, where he became the first undisputed champion at 168 lbs. Canelo typically finishes his fights before they go to the judges, a pattern that has held since 2016. However, Crawford would have to move up 2 weight classes to face Canelo. Canelo has expressed reservations about facing Terence Crawford, emphasizing the importance of weight classes in boxing. He stated, "There are weight classes for a reason," adding that Crawford's optimal performance is at 147 lbs. This perspective follows Crawford's recent move to 154 lbs, where he won a world title by defeating Errol Spence. Despite Crawford's success, Canelo believes that moving up to 168 lbs
past Saturday, but do you feel like a fight like Terence Crawford? I see he wants to fight, he's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better, Terence Crawford is a great fighter, he's a good fighter, but like I say, he's weight classes for a reason. I'm focused 100% on Berlanga, and then you never know what happened.
Yeah,
next.
yeah, for sure.
Canelo has criticized Terence Crawford's record, suggesting that Crawford's career lacks high-level competition. He argued, Crawford has gone through his 17-year career without facing elite-level opposition. His best win was a weakened, post-accident version of Errol Spence. Other than that, no one on Crawford's record stands out enough to justify the praise he's received. He's a product of how clever promoters match fighters these days. He's very skilled, but he's only beaten one big name. If you look at his record, he's only defeated one good fighter. Other than that, he hasn't fought other top-tier opponents, Canelo told TMZ Sports, downgrading Crawford's record. Canelo is right that Crawford has only one famous name on his resume, the worn-out Errol Spence, who hasn't been the same since his high-speed, 100 mph car crash in 2019. Crawford's resume is filled with skilled fighters, but essentially, He's been the favorite in every fight he's had during his 17-year run, and that's not because there weren't any opponents capable of challenging him.
People asking you about Terence yet?
No, look, I always say, I respect Terence Crawford. He's a very talented fighter, but he just win one big fight. If you see his record, he just beat one good fighter like Errol Spence is.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't think he's beating other great fighter like Spence. He did a really good job with the Spence. He did like almost look very easy. But I knew Terence Crawford is a great fighter. But you never know in boxing.
Canelo recently commented on Terence Crawford's career, prompting Crawford to fire back on X, saying, "LOL, that's crazy. So every fighter I fought isn't good but one?" He added, "Just remember what you said, because I've always had the joy of making some bodies look like nobodies." Critics of Crawford argue that he has been carefully matched against lesser opponents to maintain an unblemished record, avoiding top-tier fighters like Erislandy Lara and Virgil Ortiz Jr. Some, including Canelo's backers, believe Crawford should move up to 168 lbs to face the likes of David Benavidez or David Morrell to prove himself worthy of a fight with Canelo. However, Crawford maintains confidence in his accomplishments, dismissing the notion that his resume is weak or padded, and continues to assert his dominance in the sport. Canelo has acknowledged the widespread desire among fighters to face him, saying, "Everyone wants to fight me, so it's fine. If a fight makes sense, then why not?" Although Canelo was initially hesitant to fight Crawford, claiming he wouldn't get proper credit for defeating a smaller opponent, his stance has evolved over time. Recently, Canelo met with boxing power broker Turi Alik in London to discuss a potential bout with Crawford. If the fight materializes, Crawford will move up to super middleweight, a significant jump that some experts believe may be too challenging for him. Two-weight world champion Teofimo Lopez, who has trained alongside Canelo under coach Eddie Reynoso, is among those who think the weight increase could be too much for Crawford. Despite these concerns, the potential matchup has generated considerable excitement among
Crawford to call you out at 68, say that he can beat you at this weight?
No, everybody wants to fight with me, so it's fine.
That being a biggest fight possible in boxing, is that something you'd actually be interested in?
It's crazy when you asking about that, because you say, your matchup is coming out of the other weight classes, and he's welterweight, so don't make sense. But if the fight makes sense, why not?
A lot of people have him at number one pound for pound. You think that's fair to you?
It's a few people there who deserve be the number one pound per pound. And
Canelo has expressed confidence about a potential fight with Terence Crawford, saying, "Easy money. If the money is right, I'm in." He went on to explain that he doesn't enjoy fighting fighters like Crawford, whose style relies heavily on movement, which Canelo finds boring. This reflects Canelo's belief that Crawford's style may not align with his preferred matchups. Despite this, talks between the two champions have progressed, with reports suggesting that an agreement has been reached for a fight in Las Vegas in September 2025. This potential matchup has generated significant interest within the boxing. World.Canelo has recently discussed possible future bouts, notably with the undefeated champion Terence Crawford, following his victory over Jermell Charlo. Canelo acknowledged the possibility of facing Crawford, saying, "Anything is possible." He emphasized the importance of securing favorable terms for such a high-profile match. In a later development, reports indicate that Canelo and Crawford have engaged in promising talks with Saudi boxing chief Turi Alik to arrange a major fight in 2025. Both fighters have allegedly agreed to a September showdown in Las Vegas. While these developments suggest a potential mega fight on the horizon, Canelo remains focused on his current commitments. He has expressed a willingness to consider the matchup after fulfilling his current obligations.
We'll see, but always is a chance there, and we're here to make the best deals, and always a chance.
And I do have to ask you about Dimitri Bivol, because that's a rematch you've always talked about wanting. How do you see the rematch going with Bivol and Beterbiev?
I think it's gonna be another good fight. It's gonna be another good fight. Both fighters are good fighters, so I think both have a chance to win. Like the first one was a really good fight.
So whatever is next, we look forward to it, my friend. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Canelo is likely to be a key part of the Riyadh series, following recent discussions about a potential mega fight with Terence Crawford. The event, to be held in Saudi Arabia, aims to showcase top-tier boxing talent, with both fighters agreeing to terms for a fight in September 2025. The Riyadh series is set to feature this highly anticipated showdown. Turi Alik has been eager to bring major events to Saudi Arabia, offering over $200 million to bring Canelo to Riyadh. In an interview at the opening of the Pastore Market in San Diego, Canelo said, "I never say no to business, and is open to talks if the deal is right." He revealed that 80% of the profits from his fights, including ticket sales, go straight to him. Canelo stated that he takes these risks knowing he stands to make substantial money.
Saul, Mike Arnal, how are you? Quick question. I know, as we walk, Canelo, how important is it that you've spoke with Turki Al Sheikh?
Say again, please.
How important for you is it that you've spoke to Turki Al Sheikh, and what did you speak about?
Look, I like to work with everybody. You know, I'm a free agent and I like to work with everybody. And you know, I like to have the doors open.
Are we going to see Canelo Crawford next?
We'll see. It's a possibility there always. No, we'll see what happens.
Have you spoke with Turki about that show?
Yeah, we know each other. We don't talk that much for make a deal and anything, but you know, we now know each other and we'll see what happens.
Last one, I know you're pushed for time. Benavidez Morel, who wins?
It's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a good fight. 50-50 fight.
Canelo, thank you for that.
Mikey Garcia shared his thoughts on a hypothetical fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford. Garcia praised Crawford as one of the most skilled fighters he has seen, recounting a conversation where he acknowledged Crawford's achievements and the lack of recognition he gets due to politics and favoritism in boxing. Despite Crawford's impressive skills, Garcia pointed out the significant size difference between the two fighters, which he believes would be a decisive factor. He mentioned that Canelo competes at 168 lbs, while Crawford recently moved up to 154 lbs and is still adjusting to challenges at that weight. Garcia expressed doubt about Canelo dropping below 166 lbs and felt that the size and power advantage would favor Canelo, even though Crawford is the more technically skilled fighter. Ultimately, Garcia stated that he is not in favor of the matchup, stressing that Crawford has already achieved greatness across multiple weight divisions. Dan Rafael, a seasoned boxing analyst, also weighed in on a potential fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford. He noted that Canelo is a student of business and would be motivated by the substantial cash reward such a fight could offer. Rafael believes this matchup could be one of the most important in boxing history, drawing immense attention and generating substantial revenue. He emphasized that both fighters are at the peak of their careers, making this potential fight a highly anticipated event in the boxing world.
Was shortlisted Crawford for the May fight, his fight in May. Dan, what's happening?
Yeah, listen, I think it's just a fluid situation. I don't think there's anything definitive one way or the other at this point. I mean, it's not a secret that that's a fight that's been discussed by a lot of us and by a lot of people in the sport for quite a while. Certainly, it's a fight that Turki Al Sheikh from Saudi Arabia has shown a lot of interest in. And of course, if it's going to get made, someone's going to have to put up a lot of guaranteed money. And he's probably the person that's going to do it. He's obviously been working closely with Terence Crawford. He was involved with the Terence Crawford's last fight that took place in August when he fought Israel Madrimov. It's obviously a fight that Terence Crawford has been very vocal about wanting. Now, Canelo hasn't ever said he wanted the fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree. But it wasn't that long ago. I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance and he was asked about it and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it. It was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like he wasn't just saying, forget it in terms of working with Turkey or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business. And when he looks around at the landscape and he wants to make a huge amount of money, like all top fighters or any fighter for that matter, and he looks and sees, who can I fight where I can make the biggest score?
Ryan Garcia has voiced strong confidence in a potential fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford, believing that Canelo, known for his size and strength, would have the upper hand in this matchup. Garcia's assertion aligns with recent reports suggesting that negotiations for the fight are nearing completion, with a target date set for September 2025 in Las Vegas. The bout is expected to take place at 168 lbs, with Crawford moving up 2 weight classes to face Canelo for his unified super middleweight titles. This fight is anticipated to be a major commercial event, drawing significant attention from boxing fans worldwide. Terence Crawford has expressed his enthusiasm for a possible fight with Canelo, describing it as the biggest fight in boxing. He has long wanted this matchup, recognizing its massive appeal to fans around the world. Crawford acknowledges that Canelo's size advantage is important, stating, "Canelo is bigger than me." Despite this, Crawford remains confident in his abilities and is eager to face the challenge. The fight is reportedly close to being finalized, with a target date set for September 2025 in Las Vegas. This matchup is expected to be a major commercial event, drawing substantial attention from
the fighters know the intel before the news gets released to the public. King Ryan was asked about Canelo Crawford. He not only says he can't believe they got that fight done, meaning that that's a done deal. We obviously knew that, but he also gives you who he thinks wins that fight, Canelo or Crawford. Do you agree with Ryan Garcia?
Right. What about Canelo and Crawford? What do you think?
That's gonna be a great fight too. I can't believe they made that happen. Turkey's been making a lot of great fights happen. You can't really hate on it. But I'm excited for that. I know Canelo is so big, so strong, and I think he'll be just too big. I mean, weight classes matter for a reason. Last question.
Stephen A. Smith shared his thoughts on a potential matchup between Canelo and Terence Crawford, emphasizing the intrigue surrounding the fight. Initially, Smith leaned toward Crawford, highlighting his exceptional skills as a pure boxer and his ability to outclass opponents in the ring. However, Smith raised concerns about Crawford's ability to hurt Canelo, a physically imposing fighter with immense power. Smith noted how Canelo's relentless pressure and powerful shots can overwhelm boxers who lack the capacity to keep him at bay. While acknowledging Crawford's technical dominance, Smith expressed doubts about whether Crawford could withstand or evade Canelo's power over the course of the fight. Ultimately, he found the matchup compelling, suggesting that Crawford's skill and strategy would be tested like never before against a force as dominant as Canelo.
Canelo, it looks very possible he'll fight Crawford in May. What would you think of that matchup, Canelo and Crawford?
You know what? I think my initial reaction would be to say that I think that Crawford would be the superior boxer, as great as Canelo is, as seasoned as he is, with 65 fights, if I recall, on his record. He's phenomenal. But Crawford is something special. I think that he's a better pure boxer. I think boxing-wise, he's going to give Canelo fits. My concern is that he won't hurt Canelo. And if he doesn't hurt Canelo and can't hurt Canelo, then Canelo keeps coming. Similar to how he stalked Charlo, how he stalked, once he had Plant hurt, he chased after him. Canelo is a very powerful individual who can get exposed by a boxer because every shot he throws, he's trying to make it a power shot. But to me, can Crawford hurt him? I would pick Crawford to win if he can box and stay away. I don't believe he can hurt Canelo. And if Canelo catches him, it could be trouble. But I would still say it would be a very interesting fight. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. And I'm wondering whether he could stay away. Again, Crawford is the superior boxer.
Crawford's fight with Julius Indongo showed that it might not be as easy or one-sided as some might think. Early on, he had his hands full, but he eventually showcased his true strength as a fighter. Crawford's desire to fight and his drive to win are key factors in his success. He has a chip on his shoulder and the determination to step up when required. When things get tight and rounds are close, he rises to the occasion, demonstrating his dedication and championship mindset. However, the main issue with the fight is the weight difference. People may try to spin it or speculate about personal feelings, but the weight disparity remains a significant concern.
Honest, when Crawford fought Madrimov, he had his hands full, especially early in the fight. Now, I give props to Crawford because Crawford is the type of fighter where he does have like a chip on his shoulder and a willingness to win. He has drive, and if you tell him step it up, the rounds are too close, you're going to get a dedicated Crawford. So he is a true fighter, a true champion, all that. The biggest gripe I have with the fight is the weight. You guys could try to spin it and say I hate this guy or that guy. I don't really care. What do I look like being a true alpha and being bothered by what people say? I don't care. I'm telling you my opinion, and my opinion is not going to change because I know you guys can't change it. I've said the same thing, and not one time have I heard one of the Bud Buddies offer a solution to the arguments that I've brought up. Crawford is good, but so is Canelo. If they were naturally the same size, which they're not, Crawford is probably maybe a little bit taller, but I'm talking about mass.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more, and until next time.